Hello sa lahat. So you are viewing the lecture video on the course Life and Works of Rizal. The topic Filibusterismo, ideas on nationhood and revolution. Okay, so let's get started. So ang objectives natin for this lecture first is to comprehend the Rizal's ideas and aspirations for the nation. So ano ba yung idea niya and what does he want the nation to attain? Okay? And second is to analyze Rizal's reasons for concluding the novel the way it did. So bakit? Paano ba nag-end ang novel? Okay? So long story short, Simon, who was Ibarra from Danoli, okay? So nag-stage siya ng revolution which however failed. Okay? Because of certain factors which will be discussed later on. So yun nga. So bakit ganun tinapos ni Rizal ang novel? Bakit hinayaan niya na mag-fail ang revolution? Alright, so let's proceed. So ano ba ang mga aspirations niya for the nation? Okay, so uh, if you are holding your modules, your handouts, okay, so kukunin natin ang mga points for discussion natin for this topic from two chapters of the Phili. So first chapter is in chapter 7 of the Charles Derbyshire translation of the El Filibusterismo. Okay? The chapter on Simon. Okay? So in this chapter, so nag-uusap sila ni Basilio. Okay? The second chapter that we're going to focus on is in the last chapter. Okay? Yung Simon already took the poison that would end his life and nangumpisal siya kay Padre Florentino of everything that transpired. Okay, so doon natin kukunin ang mga points natin for discussion. Okay, so in the first chapter that we mentioned, okay, so makikita natin dyan through the dialogues between Simon and Basilio. What are the aspirations for the nation that Rizal was aspiring for? Okay? Okay, so let's read. So sinabi ni Simon kay Basilio, are they referring to the Spaniards? Are they unwilling that you be assimilated with the Spanish people? Okay, so ayaw ba ng mga Spaniards, ayaw ba ng mga Kastila na ang estado mo umangat at maging kapantay ng mga Kastila? Okay? Because remember, the Ilustrados were aiming for assimilation. Okay? The Ilustrados wanted the Filipinos to be Spanish citizens. Okay? Okay, so continue. So good enough. Okay, distinguish yourselves then by revealing yourselves in your own character. Try to lay the foundations of the Philippine fatherland. Okay? So ano sabi ni Simon? 'Di ba? So ayaw nila kayong maging Spanish citizens. Maganda 'yun. Okay? Uh, distinguish yourselves. Uh, pakilala ninyo kung sino kayo apart from the Spanish people, 'di ba? Reveal your own character, 'di ba? Ipakita ninyo kung sino ang mga Pilipino. Okay? So i-set ninyo ano bang katangian meron ang isang Pilipino. Okay? So that will be the foundation of the nation. Okay? Kasi yun nga, if you want to be a nation, di ba, you have to be a people that is distinct from others. Okay? Kaya halimbawa kapag tinatanong, di ba, sino ang mga Pilipino? Okay? What answer can you give that will differentiate you, that will set you aside, that will distinguish you from other nations? Okay? So ito yung gusto niyang mangyari. Ito yung isa sa mga aspirations ni Rizal for the nation. for the Filipinos, diba, to have their own character. Okay? To distinguish themselves from the rest of the world. Okay? Na tayo mga Pilipino, magkaroon tayo ng sarili nating katangian. Okay? That would set us apart from the other people in the world. Okay? Hindi naman na gusto nating humiwalay sa kanila, but we want to be known not as an American colony or a Spanish colony, okay, but we want to be known as Filipinos. Okay? Hindi lang as Asians, okay, hindi lang as Southeast Asians, but more so as Filipinos. Okay? So again, first aspiration for the nation. Okay? For the Filipinos to develop, to reveal, to appreciate, okay, to instill in them their own character, okay, to distinguish themselves from others. That is the foundation of the nation. Okay? Ang pagkakaroon ng sarili nating character. Next, do they deny you hope? Okay, hindi ba nila kayo binibigyan ng pag-asa? Okay, good. Okay yun. Okay? Bakit okay yun kung hindi tayo bibigyan ng pag-asa? Okay? Para we will not depend on them. Okay? If we continue to depend on them, di ba? Habang buhay lang tayo magiging under ng mga Spaniards, di ba? We will never have, ayun nga, have a character of our own. Di ba? We will never have a nation of our own. Kasi we are always depending on others. We are always looking to others for what we need. Okay? So what do? We must depend on ourselves. Okay? Depend upon yourselves and work. Okay? So, yun nga. So, first aspiration, again, so build your own character. Okay? Reveal the character of the Filipinos. Okay? Embrace the character of the Filipinos. That is the foundation. Okay? Next, there is nobody who we can depend on except for ourselves. Wala tayong ibang mapagkakatiwalaan. Okay? Kundi ang sarili natin. Wala tayong ibang maaasahan. Okay? Kundi ang sarili natin. Okay? Therefore, kailangan natin mag-work, kailangan natin mag-struggle. Okay? Halimbawa, sa makakain for the basic necessities, food. 'Di ba? Ang sagwa naman that we're always asking for food or purchasing food from other nations. 'Di ba? Isa sa mga basic necessities mo, 'di ba? Why are you not struggling, or why are you not working so that you will be self-sufficient in your food? Diba? Basic necessity. Okay? Sa basic necessities, we are dependent on other nations. Umaasa na tayo sa ibang nations, di ba? How can we say that we are a nation on our own? Di ba? Next point, if they are unwilling to teach you their language, cultivate your own. Extend it, preserve to the people their own way of thinking. And instead of aspiring to be a province, aspire to be a nation. Okay? So yun. Isa sa mga gusto kasi ng mga reformists is for the Spanish language to be taught across the colony. Okay? So, sinasabi ni Simon dito na, hindi, cultivate your own, develop your own, di ba? Develop the Tagalog language, develop the Kapampangan language, the Ilocano language, the Ilonggo language, etc., etc. Okay? Cultivate your own, develop your own, extend it, di ba? Preserve to the people their own way of thinking, because whether we like it or not, there are certain concepts that cannot be explained in other languages. Diba? Mas madali natin silang ma-explain using our own language. Okay? There are certain concepts na hindi maipapaliwanag through other languages. For example, ito, uh, this was encountered in one of our trainings in cultural mapping. Uh, ito, um, paano mo ipapaliwanag ang concept ng maaliwalas? 'Di ba? Kayo, think for yourself. Think on yourself. Ayan. So, isipin niyo dyan sa ano ninyo. Okay? Paano mo i-explain ang maaliwalas to a foreigner or ayan, to a person or to a different nationality, 'di ba? Pwede mong sabihin na malawak na space, 'di ba? Or pwede mong sabihin maluwang, 'di ba? Pwede mong sabihin presko, 'di ba? But there is no single foreign concept that can encapsulate, walang foreign concept na makakapag, alam niyo yun, na magiging synonym, okay, to the term maaliwalas. Okay? That's why it's important for us. Okay? Kaya sa schools, for example, di ba? Uh, Teachers will always try to come back to their mother language in explaining. Okay? Hindi natin sila mafo-force na mag-English 100% of the time. Well, of course, English teachers, syempre. Pero for the other subjects, actually minsan, even some English teachers, in explaining talaga certain concepts, some even revert back to their mother language. Because, yun nga, you can express yourself more. Uh, you can interpret your own way of thinking, di ba? Using your own language. Okay? That's why it's important for us to develop, to preserve our own language. Okay? In addition to this, sabi ni Simon, okay, while a people preserve its language, it preserves the marks of its liberty. As a man preserves his independence while he holds to his own way of thinking. Okay? Kasi again, if we focus more on foreign languages, di ba, how we conceptualize things, di ba, nakabase sa kung paano yung construction ng language na yun. Okay? Whereas if we are going to develop our own, whereas if we're going to make use, to preserve, to improve on our own language, di ba? Mas malapit sa ano natin, sa own way of thinking natin. Okay? And of course, culturally speaking, 'di ba? What sets you apart from other nations, 'di ba? Isa yung language, uh, isa yung language sa mga uh, tawag dito, sa mga characteristics ng isang nation, okay? The language that you use uh, is one of the determining factors, but it's one of the distinct characteristics of what makes a nation a nation. Okay? Kasi even, like for example, English language, diba? Even if English language is spoken in certain nations, diba? There's still a difference in how English is spoken. For example, in the UK and in the United States. So, magkaiba yung English nila. Diba? Actually, kahit sa Filipino, kahit sa Tagalog, di ba? Pagtatagalog ng, for example, ng Bulacan is different from the pagtatagalog ng mga nasa Southern Tagalog, Laguna, for example, Batangas. Okay? Quezon Province. Actually, kahit sa Kapampangan, di ba? Even certain Kapampangan dialects. Okay? Yung Kapampangan in may pareho silang Kapampangan but they have different terms for the same concept. Okay? Pero Kapampangan, parehong Kapampangan. It's just that the one Kapampangan, this Kapampangan from this part of Pampanga and this is Kapampangan from another part of Pampanga. Parang ganun. Okay? So it marks it's one of the marks of your identity as a nation. Okay? And it's one of the indicators of your independence. Diba? Because it helps you develop your own way of thinking. Okay? Hindi ka nakakulong sa paano kino-conceptualize ang isang bagay from using other languages. Okay? That's why it's important for us to preserve our language. It's a mark of our identity. It's a mark of our being a nation. Okay? It's a mark of our independence because through our language, doon na de-develop ang ating way of thinking. Okay? Kasi paano mo conceptualize? Diba? Lalagyan mo ng words. Papatungan mo ng words. Papatungan mo ng, okay? Papatungan mo ng mga salita. Ayan. Alright? So, again, balikan natin. So, what are Simon's aspirations for the nation? So, first, okay, for us to embrace our character, for us to embrace and to reveal our character, to make us a distinguished nation, to make us a distinct nation. Okay? So, that is the foundation, di ba? Pagkakaroon natin ng sarili nating character. Okay. Second aspiration. Ano ba? Second aspiration. Okay, ayan. For us to depend on ourselves. Diba? Okay, so wag tayong aasa sa iba, especially for our basic necessity. So we have to work for it. Okay, kailangan pagsikapan natin. Okay, wag yung paghirapan. Mas maganda yung term ng pagsikapan natin ang mga pangangailangan natin. Those that we need to survive. Okay, third, so cultivate, develop, preserve our own language. Kasi yan ang tatak ng isang pagiging distinct nation, tatak ng pagiging isang malayang bayan. Okay? Kasi sa pamamagitan ng lengguwahe natin na ide-develop ang ating kamalayan, kung paano tayo nag-iisip. Okay? Okay. So, sinabi ni Simon, instead of subordinate thoughts, think independently to the end that neither by right nor custom nor language the Spaniard can be considered the master here. Okay? So yun nga, so wag nating iniisipin na mas mababa ang Pilipino compared to other nations. In this particular case, the Spaniards. Okay, wag nating iisipin na ang mga Pilipino mas mababa sa mga Spaniard. Because the moment that we think that, okay, the moment na iniisip natin yan, okay, then there's this mentality na nabubuo na the Spaniards are generalizing that foreigners are masters here. Okay? Halimbawa, why do in some establishments, why can we see special treatments when the customers are foreigners? Di ba? Bakit sila may, again, I'm not generalizing all establishments, but there are of course some cases, there are some instances wherein your servers, okay, are giving tawag dito, nagbibigay sila ng mas attentive na service to foreigners. Okay, compared to when their clients are Filipinos. Okay, bakit ganun? Okay, why do we give them a special treatment? Of course, again, I'm not saying lahat, pero there are just some instances na ganun ang nangyayari. Okay, bato-bato sa langit, tamaan, wag magalit. Alright? Pero when you think about it, di ba, nandito ka sa Pilipinas, di ba? Actually, dapat mas, actually, kung di, pinakamaganda, syempre, dapat pantay. First come, first serve. Okay? Kumbaga, walang special treatment. Dapat. Okay? Because, yun nga, if we think of us as subordinate, kung iniisip natin lagi that we are inferior to foreign nations, di ba? Kahit dito mismo sa sarili nating bayan, we will never be masters. Okay? Dapat, iniisip natin na, especially dito sa bayan natin, that we are co-equal, diba, with foreign people. Okay? Actually, mas maganda kung if we think highly of ourselves while treating all peoples equally. Diba? Kasi yun nga, if we think of ourselves as inferior to other nations, then, diba, they will always be masters, we will always be invaded. Okay? Although minsan not physically, sometimes culturally. Okay? Kaya we do not have liberty kung gano'n. We will never have liberty kung gano'n. Okay? So, we must always think highly of the Filipinos. Okay? While treating all peoples equally. Okay? So, that's some of the basics of what Simon aspired the nation to have or to be. Okay? Somebody who cherishes yung character niya, yung pagka-Pilipino niya. Okay? Everything will follow. Take note, hindi masyadong technical lang sinasabi ni Simon. What he aspired for the nation is basically, it's a general sentiment. Okay? You love yourself as a Filipino. Okay? Mahalin mo ang pagka-Pilipino mo. Diba? Be proud of yourself as a Filipino. Develop your own as a Filipino. Diba? So, wala masyadong technical. Diba? Aside, yung pinaka-technical lang talaga dyan would be the second. Diba? Don't depend on others. Diba? You have to work whatever you need in life. Diba? You need to work for it. You need to, kailangan mo pagsikapan. Wag kang aasa sa iba for your necessities. Kung bata ka, syempre. Pero when you come to age, okay, kapag ka nasa hustong edad ka na, okay, wag kang nang aasa sa iba para sa pangangailangan mo. Okay? Kailangan pagsikapan natin. Actually, hindi pa nga siya ganun ka-technical, di ba? It's not as specific as giving suggestions talaga. Kumbaga, it's really more of a principle na don't depend on others, depend on yourself. Okay, so that's what Rizal or Simon aspired for the nation. Okay. Towards the end of the Philly, so yun nga. So take note, hindi natin tinignan yung sa mga in-between. Okay? Because what we're trying to extract here from the Philly are the ideas of Rizal. Ano yung mga gusto niya i-share sa mga tao talaga. The two novels, The Noli and the Philly, actually, hindi natin masyadong tinitingnan yung kwento. Okay? We look at the ideas that Rizal is trying to present through the novels. Kumbaga yung novel, the story itself, ano lang siya eh, hindi naman siya facade, pero hindi yun yung gusto niya ipunto talaga. What we want to look here is the meanings, the ideas behind that are hidden behind the story. Okay? Take for example another one, Rizal's ideas on the revolution, which is contained in the last chapter. Okay, yung mamamatay na si Simon. Okay, so in this chapter, Padre Florentino is explaining to Simon why Simon's revolution failed. Okay? Now, of course, pwede nating tingnan na these are reasons why revolution will fail, but if we're going to look closely on how Rizal phrased his ideas, okay, we can see na he's not saying directly, he's not saying with finality na revolution is never going to work. Okay? Kumbaga, sinasabi lang niya, in the context of Simon's situation, the revolution did not work because this one. Okay? Kumbaga, if we're going to look at it inversely, di ba, we can see uh, what could have been done in order for the revolution to succeed. Okay? Halimbawa, tingnan natin yung dialogue na to. According to Simon, why then has he, referring to God, denied me his aid? Okay, first factor, first reason, because you chose means that he could not sanction. Okay, ibig sabihin, yung pamamaraan mo, okay, it's not aligned with how a nation should act. Okay, hindi yan yung tamang paraan para makamit ang gusto mo. Okay, kasi, for example, gusto mong yumaman. Diba? You can, letter A, magnakaw ka. Or you can, letter B, pagsikapan mo. Diba? Kumbaga, ito yung sinasabi ni Florentino na what Simon chose was uh, to attain the goal using evil means. Okay? To read further, sabi niya, you have believed that what crime and iniquity have defiled and deformed, another crime and another iniquity can purify and redeem. So yun nga, 'di ba? Yung kasakiman, yung kasamaan ng Spanish officials, itatama mo sa pamamagitan ng sarili mong kasamaan, 'di ba? So, hindi ganoon. Hate never produces anything but monsters and crime criminals. Love alone realizes wonderful works. Virtue alone can save. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, in the first place, the cause of Simon is not noble. Ba uh, hindi marangal ang kadahilanan ni Simon sa sa pag pagsasagawa ng isang revolusyon. Because yun nga, if dahil hindi marangal yung hangarin niya, ibig sabihin yung pamamaraan niya nag-follow. Diba? Hindi rin marangal. It's not noble, diba? It's not a means that the Lord can sanction. Diba? In the first place, yung desire niya, yung motivation niya rather, diba? It's rooted in something that is evil, diba? Revenge basically. Okay? Ang problema doon, okay, when you want revenge, gusto mo lang masaktan mo yung kabila. Okay? You're not thinking of what to do next, di ba? Are you going to approach it? Well, he thought about how to approach it. Okay? Pero yun nga, yung limited viewpoint niya, pumigil sa kanya para makakita ng mas malawak na perspective that would give him ideas para yung revolution niya mas maging successful because yun nga, what you want is for the people to succeed. Ang problema lang, yung iniisip niya, sarili lang. Diba? I just want to bring hurt to those who have hurt me. Okay? I don't care about the innocents. I don't care about who's going to die. Diba? As long as the people who have hurt me are going to be hurt. Yun lang. Okay? So, hindi na-consider. What about the innocents? Diba? Okay? So, the purpose in the first place is not noble, hindi marangal. Okay? That's why, if we want to stage a revolution, first of all, we have to make sure na the motivation, yung motivation natin, yung hangarin natin, is something na may karangalan. Diba? Ba't ka magre-revolution? Kasi ayaw mo yung nakaupo. Diba? Ba't ka magre-revolution? Because uh, I want social justice for the people. Because the people deserve social justice. Because gusto ko may ahon ang mga tao mula sa kahirapan. Okay? Because if you do something out of love, then your actions will be guided by love. Okay? By something noble. Diba? Hindi mo hahayaang yung mga inosente, madamay, as much as possible. Okay? Unfortunately, yun nga, si Simon, hindi naisip yun. Second factor, what is my mistake compared to the crimes of our rulers? Sabi ni Simon. Saan siya nagkamali? Sabi ni Florentino, you fostered social rottenness without sowing an idea. Okay? Pinabaho mo ng pinabaho ang colonial government, pero you did not educate, you did not give an ideology to the people. Ginalit mo lang sila. Okay? The problem is, hindi mo sila binigyan ng idea on what they should become. Because basically, revolution is change, not just it's change from top to bottom, but more importantly, it's change within the people. Okay? Kumbaga, pag ginalit mo lang sila, pag tinalo na nila yung nagpapasakit sa kanila, what's next? Di ba? Wala, back to normal. Okay? Ako magsasaka, so nagrevolusyon ako, so natalo namin sila, balik ako sa pagsasaka. May nagbago ba? Okay? Kaya if you're going to uh, engage the people, kailangan you have to give them an ideology. Ganito dapat ang Pilipinas. Dapat part 'yon sa motivating speech mo or sa panghihikayat mo sa mga tao. Huwag lang yung sinasabi mo na ang gobyerno, yan ang nagpapasakit sa atin. Wala nang mga corrupt yung mga yan, ninanakawan lang tayo lagi. Okay? Inaano mo lang yung galit. But hindi mo sinasabi ano dapat ang government. Kung ang government corrupt, ano siya? Ano dapat siya? Okay? Para hindi maulit or para hindi tayo bumalik sa kung ano man ang kalagayan natin sa ngayon. So you need to give an ideology, a philosophy, a social philosophy to the people. Okay? Kasi kung galit lang lagi ng galit ang inaano, wala. You may or may not succeed. Pag nag-succeed ka, ganun ulit. Okay? Kumbaga, pinalitan mo lang yung nakaupo. Walang nagbago. Okay? So you have kailangan dun sa mga members na sasali, doon sa mga mag-join sa'yo, sasali sa'yo sa revolution mo, kailangan you have to give them an idea. Ano dapat tayo? Ano dapat tayo maging? Tama ba yan? Okay. Dapat tayo maging ano? Okay? So, you have to give them that. Kasi kung hindi, wala. Your revolution, mauulit lang. Yung yung kalagayan nila. Babalik lang sa dati. Okay? Lastly, when our people is unprepared, when it enters the fight through fraud and force without a clear understanding of what it is doing, the wisest attempts will fail. Okay? Actually, ito, nakapaloob na dito lahat. Okay? But let's emphasize the first one. When our people is unprepared, the wisest attempts will fail. So ito yung medyo technical. Okay? So if you're going to stage a revolution, you have to be prepared. Okay? So sabi ni Padre Florentino, 'di ba? If you are unprepared, then mabibigo ka. Imagine mo naman kakalabanin mo mga naka-rifles, naka-cannons. 'Di ba? Tapos ikaw, anong gamit mo? Bolo, 'di ba? Sibat. Okay? Sumusugod ka pa lang, 'di ba? Binabaril ka na nila. Okay? So kahit gaano kaganda ang plano mo, kahit gaano kaganda yung ideology mo, wala pa rin. Okay? So basically, this statement encapsulates. So yun yung first. Yun yung third na factor why the revolution of Simon failed. Because they're unprepared. Okay? Why does it encapsulate? Because the other two are also here. So, yun. Yung una, the people are unprepared. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan prepared yung mga tao. When it enters the fight through fraud, di ba? Ginalit mo lang sila. Okay? Uh, so, yun. Hindi mo nilapatan ng ideology, hindi mo nilapatan ng uh, social philosophy ang revolution mo. Without a clear understanding of what it is doing. Okay? Bakit ka nga ba nagre-revolution? Diba? You're not clear of your goal. Or kung may goal ka man, yun nga, in line with fraud, diba? Niloloko mo lang yung mga tao. Diba? It's not noble. It's walang karangal. Hindi marangal ang intention mo. Okay? The attempts will fail. Okay? So again, to summarize, why did Simon's revolution fail? One, because of a lack of a noble purpose and a lack of noble means. Okay, hindi maganda ang hangarin, hindi maganda ang pamamaraan. Okay, two, walang ideology. Ginalit mo lang yung mga tao, okay, but you did not give them an ideology na ano dapat ang kailangang maging ano para magbago ang situation. Okay? What should the people become? Ganyan. And third, yeah, because, well, the people are unprepared. Okay? So basically, if the Katipuneros were, fast forward tayo ng konti, if the Katipunan read this properly, di ba, they should have, well, in some, pwede naman nating makita yun in some of the works of the Katipuneros, Jacinto, Bonifacio. Okay? So yun nga, that they had a noble vision, they had a noble purpose. Okay? Well, they tried to use peaceful means, kaya lang wala talaga. Okay? They had an ideology that the people have to be independent in order for the changes to succeed. And kapag independent na, what should the people become? So they had an ideology. The problem is, yun lang, the revolution started while the Katipuneros were unprepared. Okay? Kaya in the early parts or in the early phases of the revolution against Spain, medyo madaming natatalo. Okay? Alright? So yun. So those three. Look at your intentions. Do you have an ideology? Are you prepared? basically. Kaya lang, the death of Simon, okay, who Rizal used to personify the idea of revolution. Okay. So in the end, pinatay pa rin niya si Simon, or in the end, he still did not allow the revolution to succeed. Okay. Kumbaga, hindi naman sa sinasabi niya with finality na hindi revolution ang sagot. Okay. But he is saying na personally, for him, he does not think that revolution is the answer. Okay. Basically, in the end, ayaw niya ng revolution. Okay, pero again, he's not saying that with finality. Kasi again, look at the idea that he presented. Which brings us to our last point. Okay? So ano yung sa kanya? Ano yung kumbaga, for Rizal, what should be done? Okay? So in this section on the ideas on nationalism, so pinapakita muna niya what the Filipinos are. Okay? And why he does not want independence in the first place. Okay? Basahin natin. While the Filipino people has not sufficient energy to proclaim with head erect and bosom bared its rights to social life and to guarantee it with sacrifices with its own blood. So pag yung mga people, yung mga tao, okay, kumbaga, hindi pa nila pinoproclaim basically yung rights to social life. Okay? And they are not willing to sacrifice. Okay? Para makuha yung rights to social life na yan. Okay? So yun, tandaan nyo yan. Pag yung tao, okay, hindi pa niya pinoproclaim yung kanyang karapatan at hindi niya handang ipaglaban ang kanyang karapatan, okay, while we see our countrymen in private life ashamed within themselves, hear the voice of conscience roar in rebellion and protest, yet in public life keep silence or even echo the words of him who abuses them in order to mock the abused. Okay. Ito, makikita natin to. Okay. So, habang yung mga Pilipino, okay, o even though nakikita niya, diba, nakikita niya yung abuses, yung oppressions, naririnig niya yung mga tumatayo para ipaglaban ang karapatan ng mga tao. But, di ba? Di ba? Yung pinopost nila or yung pinapakita nila, di ba, na they are siding with the government or with the abusers or with those in power or with the oppressors. Or basically, ano lang, nasa sideline lang. Diba? Nakikita nila ang oppression pero wala silang ginagawa to address this. Okay? So again, kapag yung mga tao ayaw nilang ipaglaban, ayaw nilang magsakripisyo ang karapatan ng tao, okay? Kapag nakikita nila ang abuses pero hindi sila kumikilos para labanan ito, or mas malala, sumasali pa sila doon sa mga nang-aabuso. Okay? Third, while we see them wrap themselves up in their egotism with a forced smile, praise the most iniquitous actions, begging with their eyes a portion of the booty. Okay, so yan. Basically, alam niyo yun, sumasaw-saw, sumisipsip para magbigyan sila ng konting biyaya. Marami pa rin ganyan eh. We see when Filipinos or when people are egotistic, selfish, di ba? Nagpapakasipsip para mabigyan ng konting graces, grasya, okay? So basically, kulang. Ganun pa rin ang nakikita natin sa mga Filipino. If the Filipino people are still like that, okay, selfish, okay, plastic, walang pakialam, apathetic, okay, ayaw ipaglaban, ayaw magsakripisyo. If pag ganun pa rin ang mga Pilipino, then independence, makakasama lang sa mga Pilipino yan. Okay? Why? Because imagine, ang dami sa mga taong papalit, mga tatakbo sa position, di ba? Ganun din, oppressors din, selfish people din. Okay? Pinalitan mo nga yung mapang-abuso, yung pumalit naman sa kanya, mapang-abuso din. Okay? That's why, in the question of independence, handa ba ang mga tao for independence? Okay? Kasi again, yun nga, kung titingnan mo sa paligid mo, kung yung mga tao mismo, they are selfish, iniisip lang nila, sarili nila, diba? Hindi nila pinaglalaban kung ano yung tama, hindi nila nilalabanan ang mga mapang-abuso, tapos naging independent ka, sila yung aakyat sa position. Wala din, ganun din. Uulit lang. Mas masama pa nga nun, kapwa mo Pilipino ang nang-aabuso sa kapwa Pilipino. Diba? That's why, ano yung sabi niya, ni Padre Florentino, we must secure liberty by making ourselves worthy of it. So kailangan ipakita muna natin na handa tayo, that we are worthy of independence. Paano? Exaltation of intelligence and the dignity of the individual. Loving justice, righteousness, greatness. Okay? Yung tipong pagmamahal natin sa kung ano ang tama, to the point na handa tayong lumaban at mamatay para doon. Okay? Kapag tayo as a people, as a nation, we are doing this, okay? Tayo as a people, as a nation, are fighting for what is right. Pinaglalaban na, pinahahalagahan natin ang dignity ng isang tao, pinahahalagahan natin ang hustisya, ang righteousness, diba? To the point na hindi tayo natatakot mamatay para doon. Diba? Then, we can say that we are worthy of independence. Alright? So, we have to make ourselves worthy of it. Kailangan ipakita natin that we are worthy to be independent, that we are worthy to be given the responsibility. Take note, independence is a responsibility. Okay? So, kailangan, we must prove that we are worthy of this independence, of this liberty. Yan yung sinasabi ni Rizal. Kapag kinamit mo ang independence mo nang hindi ka pa ready, diba, babagsak ka lang sa kung saan ka nanggaling. Which is, yun nga, oppression. Okay? But if the people are ready, pag nakikita mo sa mga tao na they are ready now to be independent, okay? Then, doon natin masasabi na the Filipino people are or should be given their independence because they are ready. Okay? So, yun yung sinasabi ni Rizal. We have to be worthy of it. And basically, if we're going to apply it to life, we have to be worthy of what it is that we want to be given. Diba? Gusto nating magkatrabaho. Are we worthy of the trabaho na ibibigay sa atin? Diba? Gusto nating yumaman. Are we worthy na ibigay sa atin ang kayamanan na hinihingi natin? Diba? Gusto nating mahalin tayo, di ba? Are we worthy of the love that will be given to us? Okay? So look look in yourself. Diba? Sabi nga ni Simon kanina, di ba? Depend on yourself, di ba? Build your character to make yourself worthy of whatever it is that you are longing for. Okay? So, with that, thank you for listening. I hope na may natutunan kayo kahit konti. Okay? So, so yun. Thank you. Stay safe always. And see you soon.